Leadership New Jersey presents the 2010 Forum on the Future of New Jersey. This year's forum, State of Change, Building a Culture of Innovation and Creativity in New Jersey. This program was recorded November 9th, 2010 at New Jersey City University in Jersey City. In this program, a panel discussion, We Chose New Jersey, Here's Why. This panel is moderated by Jack Armstrong, leader of Construction Markets North America for BASF. Here's Catherine Kish to introduce Jack Armstrong.
We have yet another fabulous panel, and so much, you'll get a little break then, and then so much more excitement to go with the Choose New Jersey folks here. Today we've been talking about the fact that green means money. But you know, green also means the right way to build in the 21st century. Green is sustainability. And do you know that New Jersey actually has leadership in the area of clean and green? We were talking in the last panel about California. California is this big. New Jersey is this big. They're number one. Okay. We're number two. And that's a place we may want to stay because it's very important. So, it is with pleasure that I'm going to introduce Jack Armstrong, who's Mr. Sustainability. He's a very interesting person. He leads construction, I swear, across the world. He's worked in Brazil, he's worked in Brussels, he's worked here, and he does all this cross division. I mean, it sounds like they have a very interesting leadership structure at BASF. Lots of this cross-pollination thing. But their goal is to be the undisputed leader as the brand of sustainable solutions. Don't you like that? Undisputed leader of sustainable solutions. And he has brought together a panel of some of the most interesting people who are here to tell us why companies, why organizations, why we have chosen New Jersey. So I'd like to introduce Jack Gardner.
Appreciate that. Well, first of all, you know, many people are usually very confused by BASF. Everybody remembers from the old days, you know, the cassette tapes or the company that makes cassette tapes. But actually, we're the largest chemical company in the world. So we're happy to be in that position. And our motto is we create chemistry for lots of interesting attributes. And whether you know it or not, you like live and sometimes breathe and sit and drive on our chemistry every day. So second largest producer of vitamins. If you're taking vitamins, you're using our stuff. The ladies that use makeup, many of the colorants and the emollients are BASF products. If you drink Pepsi and Coca-Cola, you're drinking our caffeine. If you chew chewing gum, you're chewing our polymer. So if you use Band-Aids, we make an adhesive that goes on those little Band-Aids. So we're really all around you. It's not just in your car. It's not just in the insulation and the paints and the plastic gears in your VCR. So it's really a little bit everywhere. But it's my pleasure today to present a little bit of a different slant on this. As you can hear, I'm from real southern New Jersey, as in Texas. So usually people would say, "You're not from around here, Marty boy." I'm like, "No, I really am not." But it's actually my second tour of duty, if you will, my second time to live in New Jersey. So I lived here for a number of years, 95 through 98, and was overseas for a while, as was mentioned in the foreword, and then came back in 2003 and have been here ever since. So personally, about why choose New Jersey, I was just going to take a few minutes to say personally what it means from an outsider, and then we'll go to some of our esteemed guest colleagues that have actually been here for a number of years. But from a guy who grew up on a cattle ranch in Oklahoma, moved in high school years to Houston, and my college days in Houston, and started with BASF there. It's really cool to live in a dense urban area. I live about 1.5 miles from here, right on the harbor in Port Liberté, so I'm a Jersey City resident, and I can say that I'm right here in the hood, and I can look out and see the Statue of Liberty, the butt of the Statue of Liberty, from my, which isn't all bad, right? Depends on what your preferences are. But in any event, a beautiful view of New York City. I live on a brownfield site that was reclaimed and actually has a lovely community for Liberté, right beside the country's most expensive golf course, Liberty National, that was on a recycled brownfield site where Tiger Woods played last year. And so I think that New Jersey really has an interesting, and we heard some of the great facts earlier today, you know, interesting transit, interesting trains, interesting airports. But for me, the kind of paradox of New Jersey is the fact that it's the most densely populated state, but there's so much green space. I mean, I work for BASF, our headquarters are out in Morris County by Morristown in Florham Park. And you know, every day when I drive from the urban center here west 22 miles in about 22, 25 minutes, you know, not a bad reverse commute. So really, there's an interesting mixture and possibilities for people to be on the beach, skiing, in the islands, hiking, riding horses, and then being in Broadway, being in downtown Jersey City, the sixth borough, or the sixth coast, as they're calling it nowadays, right? So, you know, those are all very important attributes, I think, that we can't really forget that we have. And these are things that other people can't really replace. Many of our BASF headquarters or other divisions are located in other parts of the country which are quite cold. So it may be cool here in the wintertime, but it's beautiful and sunny. You know, you get in your car, it's warm inside. So, I mean, for a southern boy like myself, you know, it's not cloudy and gray, and we don't have the Detroit issue or Seattle or Portland, things like that. But most importantly, and I think many of you that are business leaders realize that the future of our people that are going to be working for us is about a diverse workforce. And when we spoke about before about innovation, part of being innovation is, and I'm sorry the last two panels weren't good examples of diversity, you know, a bunch of old black boys up here talking. But the real role of this is to celebrate diversity in thought, in sex, in religious background, in personality, in culture. And that's what New Jersey really offers. And I think for Fortune 500 companies like BASF having our North American headquarters here, that's really one of the reasons why we're able to attract a very interesting workforce here. And not only because the jobs pay well, choices that you can choose things, but mainly people who are intellectually stimulated like to do other things, like go to art museums. They like to go to Broadway shows. They like to hunt. They like to fish. So there's things here in New Jersey, besides some of the items that are within our control, that no one else can really duplicate. So looking towards the future at what key drivers, you know, big Fortune 500 companies are always looking to the next 15, 20, 30 years. How are we going to maintain our dominance in the marketplace? And some of the attributes of where the country is going and the world is going are all about things like urbanization. The country's urbanizing. About having the ability to be a low-carbon city, to have a low-carbon footprint. That means things like mass transit. That means things like subways. That means things like very efficient highways, which we have. All of those raw materials. Additionally, though, things that we can control and we can change are things like government policy. And I know we like to poo-poo a bit, you know, a lot of people are kind of the glass is half empty kind of folks, but coming from other areas, I mean, New Jersey has some very innovative, like the Board of Public Utilities, supporting solar energy credits for people to put solar panels on their homes. You drive around here and you see along the telephone poles, actually little solar power panels putting DC electricity back into the grid. You don't see that in other parts of the country. You see things like, you know, just recently the government of New Jersey allowing people up to $10,000 per home to do an energy efficient retrofit on your home. Things like that don't happen in other places in the country. And you may say, well, you know, can we always afford it? Well, you know, we have that extra 50 cents or $1 on our electric bill that funds many of these initiatives. So these are examples of good policy doing good things in the right way, and are allowing people to realize that, oh, well, you need great energy-efficient public housing, workforce housing, to support all of the other infrastructure and things like that. So I really think that BASF just made the commitment to build a brand new headquarters here in Morris County for 1,500 people. It's going to be a double LEED platinum headquarter building. When we recently had an acquisition from the former Engelhart Corporation down in Island, we actually relocated our global catalyst business globally from Europe to Island to actually merge into the facility there. So these are examples that, you know, European-based multinational companies actually see the value of places like New Jersey. So that's kind of my glasses half full speech, and certainly we'll have some, you know, the perspective from the outside, from a business person, but also from a guy from the Midwest. So what I'd like to do now, we're going to have a little bit of a recipe for continuing here with our three panelists. We're going to have a quick 2-minute introduction so you kind of know who they are and they can say where they're from. And then secondly, they're going to have about a 6-minute message. And then we'll leave, I think we're still on track for this, and as we go through, we'll watch the time. About time for one question for each of them at the end of their talk. And then if it all goes well, we'll still have 10 minutes at the end for general Q&A. So I know you're all just pent-up demand to talk. So I'm working on my accent. To talk amongst ourselves. So with that in mind, the first of our three voices that you're going to hear today is actually from Alan. And Alan is the voice of business tenants. And in his world, he actually interacts in their company with over 1,000 tenants that are here in the New Jersey area. So at this time, I'd like Alan to go ahead with his prepared introduction, 6-minute comments, and we'll try to squeeze a question in. So be thinking, audience participation.
Thank you. My accent's a little different. I was born in Jersey City. So use guys is one word. But anyway. Good afternoon, and thank you, Leadership New Jersey, for the opportunity to participate here today and to be on a panel. It's obviously a great little group here. I'm Alan Magrini. I'm a Senior Vice President of Harts Mountain Industries, and we're a big, large real estate company, owner of properties in northern New Jersey. A little bit of background. Harts is a privately owned company by the Stern family. Previously, we were the Harts Pets Products. That's how the company got started in the 1920s and evolved into warehouses to house pet products, and eventually into the publishing business, where we used to own the Village Voice and really most of the alternative newspapers across the country. And I've sold off that. The little Homes magazines that you could get in a grocery store used to be the Harts chain. Moved off the Carpet Magic orange machines you could rent used to be a Harts product. So right now we're just a real estate company. So one product, but we're a full-service developer, full in-house legal, architectural, design, engineering departments, manage our own properties. We don't manage any outside properties, just our own, and we're the 9th largest property management company in the country. And just 2 seconds back, a very diverse portfolio, about 38 million square feet. We occupy ourselves about 60,000. So the rest is all our tenants. We have about 22 million square feet of warehouses, many of them in Secaucus in northern New Jersey, about 9 million square feet of office space and office buildings, about 3 million of retail, and we're involved in some 13 hotels, which contain about 2,800 rooms. Everything from ground leases to the DoubleTree right here in Jersey City to the Sheraton in Weehawken. In New York City, we have our own hotels with our own flag, the Soho Grand and Tribeca Grand, that we operate. And then just recently, in the last 6 months or so, we've decided to diversify a bit and now own some 850 residential units, rental units. Mixed-use developments, you know about Harmon Cove, Harmon Meadow and Secaucus, Lincoln Harbor, right at the Helix to the Lincoln Tunnel, Ridgefield Park up on Route 80, or the turnpike leading up to Route 80. That's a municipal landfill where we rent the land from the town, have developed a theater and a number of office buildings. And our latest project is 100 acres in Edison, the old Ford plant on Route 1. And again, it's over 200 properties and over 1,000 tenants. And that's really the part we just want to talk about a little bit. So while we're a relatively small company in terms of number of employees and what we do, we have tremendous exposure to financial institutions, to warehouse companies, to retailers, both national chains, local mom and pop type shops. And so we have a very good feel from just talking to people how the economy's going, how things are going. The main part becomes is that Most tenants, your best tenant you have is the one you never talk to. We have tenants, we've been their landlord for 25 years, and the longer the check comes in, we never talk to them. And the more you talk to them, that means the more problems you have. But it's interesting. We do reach out and talk to our tenants because it is important in terms of what makes them want to be here. How do you retain your tenants? And you know, it's funny, as a large company that owns properties, you do a lot of the things that the state does to retain your own tenants. You always, you know, it's nice to look for new tenants, to bring new prospects in and put them in your buildings, but you have to retain what you have, and that's always the first step, is business retention. And we work very hard at that, and that's interesting to be on this panel because this is really maybe how the state looks at it also. And it's interesting, the topic for the overall program is what policies are needed to encourage businesses to choose New Jersey. And we heard from Jack a bunch of that there. And then the second part is really this panel is, we choose New Jersey, why? And why are we here? And very briefly, geography is probably the most important one for us as a company that we are. And just to back up, our 38 million square feet of space, over 200 buildings, we own one building in Maryland, and the furthest building from our office other than that one is in Edison, New Jersey, 45 minutes. So very big portfolio, very small area, and it's really for management reasons, it's for marketing reasons, it's for market reasons. In the Meadowlands, you know, we have some ability to control the industrial market almost. We have that much space there. But why are we here? Why do we stay here? And it's geography. You know, we have New York City, we have the Northeast Corridor, a great place to do business. Just even as some speakers were talking about before, split between Northern and South Jersey. Exit 8A right now is you wouldn't want to own an industrial building down there. I mean, there's tremendous vacancies, the rents are terrible. It's just a very difficult place to be doing business. The Northern New Jersey market, we have some vacancies more than we'd normally have, a little bigger, but still a very strong market. New York City is just a great driver. So the location of New Jersey, especially the northern half, is very important. We have unparalleled access, you know, between our highway systems, the local road network system, the turnpike, the parkway, tremendous access system vehicular. Also the airports and the port is a huge driver in New Jersey. Basic infrastructure, water, sewer, fiber optics facilities. The electric grid in New Jersey is tremendous. You'll see a very large growth in data centers in New Jersey simply because we have the infrastructure to do that. Other item is, again, workforce. You've heard that before. We have a plentiful workforce. We have a well-rounded workforce in terms of we have labor, we have basic labor, we have skilled labor, very technical workforce, and we have very high-level professional workforce all available in New Jersey. Again, higher education, here we sit today in this great facility. It's kind of like a hidden gem. I lived in New Jersey all my life. I've never been to this school before. It's you know, a very, very special place here. But the whole New Jersey education system, as other speakers have spoken about, is very important to the overall economy in New Jersey, to the growth and to business attraction. And then lastly, I think we have a very unique and diverse business community. When you're looking to come into a state, into a place, you want to be part of a community. And there's a very strong business community here. Just really more from the development side of it. Recently, in the past 6 months, a development coalition, past year really, a development coalition has formed. And it's made up of property owners and real estate developers and some government facilities, all of the trade organizations, and most recently, a great partnership with the trade unions in terms of organizing, all coming together for one focused push really on the government. And I think we've had some good results there. You've heard the Lieutenant Governor today, very dynamic person, special energy. If we could all catch her energy, I think we'd be a lot better place. But that's all the good parts. That's the assets we have. We have to maximize those. In terms of policies and things that we have to change a little bit, business loves certainty. And there's a lot of uncertainty, not only in the economy, but in New Jersey at this point. I think we have some government now that's a little more stable. We have tremendous uncertainty in terms of our taxes, in terms of our government rules and regulations. But I think there is getting to be more certainty, and I think there's a better direction that'll help us attract businesses. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So as I promised to kind of pizzazz it up a little bit, if there is a question from the audience of anybody that would want to ask something right now of Alan, someone who's actually multiple businesses, multiple properties, different parts of the state. Any questions at this time? And if not, we'll keep on going. Jot those down as you're thinking of them. So next then, our second voice, we'll have the voice of innovation, you might say, of the New Jersey welcome map with Jay Diggins. And so Jay, many of you, his name's already been mentioned beforehand here. And still going or not? Before the screensaver pops in there, the password. But so anyway, I'll hand it over to Jay right now. And Jay, please self-introduction and 6 minutes of interesting tidbits, and then we might have an opportunity for another question as well.
So another voice of a middle-aged white guy. I don't know what I can do about that right now, but
Look in the mirror.
yeah,
We're all self-aware here, right?
yeah. So our firm serves as a location advisor and site selection advisor to major corporations that are in the business of choosing a location for a new facility. And it could be a relocation of an existing operation or multiple operations consolidated from various locations into a new one. It could be an expansion. We haven't had many of those in the last 2 years, but we're starting to see some signs of life in terms of actual expansion. But to be honest, most of the project activity around the country, and in fact around the world, is themed one way or another as a consolidation, a shrinkage of footprint, of rooftops, and including shrinkage of headcount. And until the economy begins to turn around on a macro level, we're going to continue to see more of that as companies have a hard time growing earnings on the revenue side. They're continuing to try to manage earnings on the only place they can, which is on the cost side. That said, that dynamic creates a lot of activity, a lot of moving around, and what may be a loss of important sorts of employment and tax rateable income for one jurisdiction, a state, county, or city, often is another state or county or city is the beneficiary of that relocation. So we have to think of this sort of site selection process as a very dynamic, active marketplace, just like any other market for any other goods and services, except the product is location. And the procurement of location is a choice of place, and those choices are made for all kinds of reasons. Workforce is always near the top of the list. The talent needed to make a business successful is the 2 or 3 top considerations on any site selection criteria. But also never far from the top is cost. So a location has to have all of the characteristics that would make a business successful: access, logistics, talent, but cost is never far from the top of the list. So what happens in the site selection process, and it's so important for economic development professionals and policymakers to understand this, that you start first looking at multiple locations. Where in the world could this project be successful? And then it's a relentless process of elimination, narrowing the list to a manageable list of shortlisted locations, and about which you know certain basic things. You're on the short list, you know that the project can be successful there, and all of the other competitive variables, talent, logistics, access to competitors, access to suppliers, and cost, they're all now in a pretty tight competitive band. They're very similar. They could be anywhere in the world, but they have those similarities. At that point, cost usually then makes the decisive difference. Now, we all know that some companies locate close to where the CEO wants to wake up every morning, and there are always those dynamics. But for large public companies with boards and fiduciary responsibilities to shareholders, these decisions are very rigorous, transparent ultimately, and subject to an enormous amount of scrutiny. So they are by the numbers. New Jersey fares very well in many of these analytic fire drills or analytic bake-offs, as they call them. New Jersey fares very poorly in some others. New Jersey has been referred to originally by Benjamin Franklin as a beer keg tapped at both ends, which in many ways captures the spirit of New Jersey, but you know, we are the beneficiary of a lot of jobs and migration from New York and expensive places to the east and north, but we are losing a lot of jobs out the southern tap, if you will, to Pennsylvania, which has lower costs in many ways, lower personal income tax burdens, and also to jurisdictions farther away, like to the Carolinas and to Tampa and to Dallas. Even Houston gets a few jobs from New Jersey from time to time. So there are no boundaries on the site selection issues. New Jersey needs to understand where it fits in its competitive marketplace. It needs to understand the competitive bake-offs that it can win and those that for which it just doesn't have the financial ingredients. We cannot compete with Chiang Mai or with Shanghai for certain back-office jobs, and nor should we try. Although some of them are moving back because they're not having as good a time in offshore locations as they expected. But it's very important to understand that the whole role of incentives, which I know the Lieutenant Governor talked about a little while ago, plays in this sort of choice of place, this location decision where choice is the product, or location is the product, and that is the incentives are the only way that a jurisdiction can weigh into the purchase decision, weigh into that choice with a pricing signal. Now, every business has to be very deliberate about how to price its products in order to be successful. It's not only about price. We have reliability issues, we have quality issues, we have service issues. So too we have with the choice of place, but price is never far from the top of the list. Incentives are the way in which a jurisdiction, a city or a county or a state, can dial its pricing strategies to try to be successful in the circumstances where pricing can make the difference. We have some of the most potent and carefully designed incentives programs anywhere in the country or even the world. We have our flagship program, which is called the Business Incentive Employment Program, which provides companies with a share back in the form of a grant of the incremental personal income tax revenue that the new jobs in New Jersey bring to the state. It's always revenue positive. The state always gets more from that program than it's giving back in grants. We have the Business Relocation Assistance Grant. It's actually a tax credit. It's the only program we have to retain our own, as Al was talking about. It's the Michael Porter sort of maxim, you've got to take care of the customer you have first. And that legislation is working its way through the Assembly and the Senate as we speak. The economic growth and economic redevelopment and growth grants is also a tax increment financing vehicle, very much like the B program, except it's for other taxes, for hotel taxes or payroll taxes or pilot payments, payment in lieu of real estate taxes, all created by new development, new projects, all incremental revenues, always revenue positive, but helps to address a financing gap, especially during this recession, that is keeping new projects from happening. There's a Transit Hub Tax Credit Program, which enables 9 designated cities, including Jersey City, to be the beneficiaries of major new projects. These are game-changing projects of at least $50 million. It's a tax credit that enables the sponsor to achieve nearly full cost recovery over 10 years. This program has a 5-year window. We're into year 3. Unfortunately, it's happening during a recession, so it has some headwind, but there are a number of interesting projects in the pipeline that could bring new construction labor jobs, new places, new inventory, Class A LEED certified buildings in our cities that we haven't seen. We haven't seen cranes in the air in New Jersey in a long time. That'd be nice to see. This program is one program, the most potent in the country, that can actually make it happen. There are other programs as well for small business, for IT business, for R&D tax credits, for other things. It's a very diverse toolbox. We're an expensive jurisdiction. We have a lot of assets, but we need tools to deal with the pricing issue that will help companies come and stay in New Jersey.
Thank you, Jay. So maybe with those tantalizing morsels of all these different programs that are out there, are there any questions? What question particularly for Jay before we move on? And we'll have some more time at the end, but if anybody's just itching to ask. Okay. Even Alan, we'll open it up. Okay. We should have given you that break, right? So anyway, so moving on now to our third voice that we have on our panel today. We have with Steve the voice of creative labor union paradigm shifting, new novel ways that you're not used to hearing those words together, are you? So I was really kind of taken aback when we had our pre-calls planning for the meeting today. So Steve, please.
Sure. Thanks. First, it's really hard to be the last guy before a break. And it's really hard to be the last guy before a break after following Jay. So I'll do what I can. My name is Stephen Gardner. I'm the Director of Government Affairs for the New Jersey Laborers, Employers, Cooperation, and Education Trust. I'll get to that in a minute. But first, NJ.f, go blue. Second, current class, you've been heard. The voices have come in. I'll go as quickly as I can. And that goes out to you, Dan, and to you, Rob. You've been heard. Everyone talked about where they were born. I'll talk about a little bit about that because I think it's important. I was born in New Brunswick and started out in East Brunswick. And as a kid, and with a lot of family in Philadelphia, there were two mysteries in my life. One was Ford's Gate. You always see the Ford's Gate sign. And the other was the BASF plant, which was on Cranberry Road as you went to 8A. Ford's Gate is right near my office, so now I know what that is. And now I've learned what BASF is. Thank you, Jack. Thank you for that.
Your life is complete.
My life is now complete. So, the New Jersey Laborers, Employers, Cooperation, and Education Trust. It's a mouthful, but let me tell you what it means. We are a labor management organization. We represent both the Laborers International Union of North America and their 20,000 men and women who live and work in New Jersey. And we also have a group of contractors that are signatory to the laborers, which means that when they bid work, construction work of any kind, they hire our men to do some of their work. What we recognized a long time ago before this recession is that when labor and management could work together to promote economic development, we all won. It didn't mean that a job had to go union, but if there's a big pie and folks are investing in New Jersey, then there's a pie to compete for. And when our contractors are competing and winning, my men and my women are working. So that was that's where Lesset started as an organization. Where it's gone and where the labor movement, the construction labor movement has gone, is really dramatic in new ways as the economy has forced us together with our business partners beyond just our contractors. But first, everyone talks about unemployment. I want to talk about unemployment for a minute because it's really critical in my industry. Nationally, the average is 9%, national 9, 10%. In the construction industry, it's 20 to 30% in New Jersey. But what that really means, to put that in perspective of numbers and what it means for New Jersey's economy, is in 2006, we were on pace we did about 6 million man-hours of work. In 2010, we're going to do 3 million man-hours. Cut in half in 4 years. When you think about the $10 billion hole that the governor and the legislature will face next year, think about the tax revenue that's lost when we don't invest in New Jersey. And that's where it starts, right? Businesses, when they're coming into New Jersey, whether they're staying in New Jersey, when they're renovating their offices, when they're building new space, they're hiring my guys and my women. And so when they're working and business is coming to New Jersey, our economy will do better, our budget will improve, everything gets better. When those things aren't happening, we're the precursor to what's going to happen and where we're going. So that's the backdrop. So what are we trying to do? First, I'll tell you that that this governor with Choose New Jersey is a great step in the right direction. In fact, my boss Ray Pacino from the laborers is actually on that board. He's the only labor member on that board because we recognize that it isn't enough to work with our contractors. We have to work with businesses to figure out ways, and like Jay's company, to figure out ways to get folks here. Because when they're here, they're building, and we want to be building. In addition to Choose New Jersey, Dennis Bone is here, and he's going to be on the next panel, I believe. But the laborers and Verizon had a really unique partnership a few years ago when Verizon wanted to come in and invest in New Jersey, to bring in a brand new fiber optic network to make New Jersey better and bring in Fios and to do great things. And we partner with them because we saw that as a real opportunity not only to create man hours, but to create New Jersey, make a better New Jersey. But that partnership has gone well beyond that initial goal of trying to get a bill passed in the legislature and creating work. We now work hand in hand on any number of issues all across the state, and it's been a great partnership. I know John Bigelow is also going to be on the next panel. He works at New Jersey American Water. The same way, we've begun to develop a relationship with a water company to figure out ways to how New Jersey can invest in its New Jersey water infrastructure. Because if we don't, we're going to have much bigger problems in this state. We've looked at, I think, Jack, you talked about a little bit about the greening of New Jersey and where we go, right? The laborers started a brand new local. It's Local 55. And the goal of the local is to recruit and train under and unemployed workers in urban areas and figure out ways to get them into the green economy. And one of the leverage points that we've been using is all the weatherization money that's out there, whether it's retrofitting homes, is beginning to create a workforce that can meet tomorrow's needs. And those needs are retrofitting homes, right? As opposed to the big commercial buildings that aren't being built, it's folks are putting in new insulation. They're redoing their doors, redoing their windows, they're caulking their windows, real basic stuff. But that's a real underserved community. And so we figured out a way with New Jersey DOL to come up with a training grant to train residents over the next 18 months and figure out ways to get them jobs. So it's another way that we're trying to jumpstart the economy in just a small little way, right? This isn't big pie in the sky. This is how do we get jobs for people? And how do we get them trained and make sure they have the skills they need to meet the demand that's there? So that's another area we're working on. And lastly, and I'll just be short, both Alan and Jay have talked about this Economic Smart Growth Coalition, and the effects of that coalition cannot be understated, right? It has brought together not just the laborers, but most of the building trades. It has brought together the development community, the real estate community, a whole slew of other business interests, all coming together to say, how do we make New Jersey better? Jay talked about a couple of the urban transit tax credit is being expanded. In fact, it was up in committee yesterday that I was there to testify, and members of our committee were there. The Bragg bill, which is the business relocation bill, was up yesterday. We were all there to testify in support of that. But a whole agenda, not just one bill or two bills, a whole comprehensive agenda. And folks are coming together in a way that they never have before. And it's an incredible opportunity. And I think the governor has latched onto it, and we really appreciate that because we need that, and the legislature seems to be latching onto that. But the premise of that coalition, everything that we stand for, and everything in this room is that we all believe in New Jersey. We all believe in New Jersey. And so that's what's brought us all together. And as long as we continue to believe in New Jersey, we will get out of this together.
Thank you very much, Steve. Well, I know that we had tried to build in 5 minutes for questions then. So if we want to have any pressing questions right now, we can certainly take those for any of our panelists. Yes, maybe please come to the microphone if you could, just so we can make sure that we can hear you. Especially me, I'm translating from Texas. You're welcome. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My question is directed towards Alan. No, I'm sorry. The gentleman that just spoke, Steve, excuse me. When you're talking about creating jobs and helping, to put people back to work in the workforce, my question is towards why the governor decided not to take on the tunnel to all of the jobs that particular project was going to create, and the funding that was being offered. I'm just really perplexed about why that particular project was turned down.
Me too.
Thank you.
I will tell you that we were strong advocates of the tunnel. It's critically necessary from a jobs perspective, more importantly from a national security perspective and a commuter perspective, right? We have a 100-year-old tunnel that goes between New Jersey and New York. It's the main, it is at full capacity, and we need more rail access. I think the governor, we're disappointed with his decision, but he took a look at the facts. He saw cost overruns. He saw, the potential for major expense that in this kind of an economy he wasn't prepared to take on. I think he saw that New York State wasn't putting in any money. New York City wasn't putting in any money. And I think that he looked at the times and said there was no way in this kind of an economy, without help from somebody other than the feds and the Port Authority putting in a little bit, that New Jersey could be on the hook for the full amount. Whether that was the right decision or not, only time will tell. Hopefully there will be a solution that will come about, but I'm not going to defend them. We wanted to see the tunnel. We think it's needed. We think even though the tunnel wasn't built today, it's necessary, and we're hopeful that we can figure out a way to jumpstart it soon.
Anyone else, please?
Hi, I'm Catherine Kish. I'm co-executive director of something called Einstein's Alley, and several of my board members are in the audience today. Einstein's Alley is New Jersey's Silicon Valley Research Triangle, Route 128, whatever. On the same mornings when I'm listening to the president at 6 in the morning, I'm also hearing that guy from Michigan. You heard him? Any of you cable watchers? Jeff Bridge, I can't remember his name. He's an actor, a famous actor, and he's always talking about you've got an upper hand in Michigan. Come to Michigan. We're doing research, we're building great business parks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't hear a lot of messages like that about New Jersey. And Jay, you talked about tools, policy tools, incentive tools. Do we need other kinds of marketing tools to sell to Alan's company and other companies to stay in New Jersey and come to New Jersey?
The short answer is a resounding yes. And we spent some time, worked with Dennis Bone on the transition team, and one of the messages to the new administration was New Jersey is off the playing field. We don't have any kind of marketing effort in the market, and New Jersey hosts economic development, business recruitment teams from all over the country and all over the world coming to New Jersey to meet with New Jersey-based companies to invite them to go visit and consider their home locations. And New Jersey is rich with the sort of legacy asset base of great companies. And we need to hold on to them, and we're not going to hold on to them if everyone else is poaching our jobs and we're not out trying to level the playing field with a comparably aggressive, well-financed, carefully thought-through marketing effort. We talked about, location choice is really, you've got price, you've got all these other characteristics, but what business do you know that could be successful if it had no marketing department, had no marketing effort, did no advertising, never let anybody know about the assets that are available? Choose New Jersey is the answer to that. You have a lot of very substantial companies that have committed some very substantial money over the next 3-year period to develop and mount a best-of-class marketing effort. It's not clear whether that means doing radio advertising or TV advertising. A lot of those dollars are, they're very expensive and they're sometimes wasted. But like any marketing campaign, you need air cover, you need branding, and then you need foot soldiers. You need capable, well-informed people with good targeted marketing strategies going out into the market, identifying their likely customers, the customers who are in a position to say yes, as well as talking to their incumbent companies, their current customers, to make sure that they continue to be happy here. So that effort has been improvised to some extent by EDA. They're trying to do the work of marketing New Jersey, but it's not in their charter. Choose New Jersey is going to be doing that in a way that only private companies know how to do. And they're going to be marketing from a perspective, an ambassadorial outreach, saying we're companies that have chosen to be in New Jersey. We'd like to show you why, and we'd like you to choose New Jersey as well.
Yes, question. This will be our last question, and then everybody can chat at the break.
Hi, I'm Karen Hatcher, NJ.f, and Executive Director of Celebrate New Jersey. My question is this. I've been doing the work I've been doing to celebrate the state for the last 6 years. What I notice is that we're very good at starting things, not good at completing things, not good at continuity. So all of these initiatives are very wonderful. And so for the next 3 years, they'll be Choose New Jersey. And after that, what? We had New Jersey and you perfect together. And so my question is, how do this group, how do leaders of New Jersey ensure that whatever we begin that starts to work doesn't end with whatever administration then leaves. And, it feels like we're always starting again. So what can we do to ensure that anything that we do that works can keep going? Your opinions?
The best questions are the hard ones. And I couldn't agree more. And in fact, this new administration, like we have a governor, a lieutenant governor, career prosecutors. They didn't come into office knowing a whole lot about business development. They're quick learners. But one of the other things they understood was that this new effort, this Choose New Jersey effort, has to be different. And it has to be different because of the very cynicism that sort of this starts and stops engenders, and the difficulty it is to get serious people to commit serious resources and time and effort to an initiative that doesn't have the credibility that it'll have staying power. So one of the key decisions was made that this initiative would not be a political one, would not be populated with former campaign workers, would be independent, led by, funded by private sector CEOs who have the cross-election cycle continuity themselves. They're the ones who have long-term investments here that aren't going anywhere. It doesn't matter who's the governor is, they all have to figure out how to make it work for their employees and their businesses. So it's their commitment that drives Choose New Jersey, not this governor's or any governor's. This governor got it started. He kicked it off in the right direction. It now has a sustainable board, a sustainable funding base. I think it's going to be different this time. I'm kind of counting on it.
Thanks so much, Dave. Please a round of applause for our panel.
We hope you enjoyed this Leadership New Jersey presentation of the 2010 Forum on the Future of New Jersey. If you'd like more information about Leadership New Jersey, please visit the website www.leadershipnj.org. We produce these programs in the studios of Professional Podcasts in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, on the web at professionalpodcasts.com. For everyone at Leadership New Jersey, this is Steve Lubetkin. Thank you for being with us, and take good care.